Hello and welcome to part 3, I believe, of the heist. Um, a Candela Obscura actual play where, well, our investigators have got themselves embroiled into something very strange. Apologies for the delay of this third and hopefully final episode. It should have been a one shot. It's taken us 3 sessions to hopefully complete. But before we go into the recap, you can see the videos if you want on our YouTube channel. I'll put the links below. You can start off with, I think the first one was called The Painting, the second one was called One in a Million, and tonight, well, you will see what it's called because it's on the title above the video. Without further ado, let us introduce our cast. Unfortunately, Liz cannot be with us tonight again, but we wish you well, and we will move to Jocelyn first. Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Jocelyn Spence, and tonight I'm playing Eva, the Arranger Cartwright. Eva is 35. At this point in our adventure, she is a little bit disheveled, but she ordinarily tries to blend in, sort of middle of the road, couple years back fashions, nothing flashy, wearing a maroon dress with white sort of shirt underneath, her hair done up in a twist, but sort of half fallen down at this point. Bag in her hand with things in it that will be discovered.
Perfect. And then we move to Matt.
Hello, I'm Matt. My character is Albert Greenheart, who is early 30s, slightly disheveled, thin, um, looks well dressed, but on closer inspection, all of the clothes are very well worn and very tired, and kind of brown frock coat, dark blue navy waistcoat, carrying a medical bag with an air of an academic or a sort of scientist vibe to it.
Perfect. And last but not least, Natascha.
Hello, my name is Natascha. I'm playing from the Netherlands. My character tonight is Mary McLaughlin. She's a rural gal, contrary to the other two who are city dwellers. She's basically made her life as a caravan leader on expeditions exploring the wilds around the city. And she's wearing sturdy leather traveling clothes and a hat, and is a more physical character, and so far in the story has taken a few punches already.
Indeed. Things are not going particularly well for you, but let us for a moment cast our minds back, bring everybody up to speed, myself, you, the cast, and the audience if you haven't watched those other videos. You work for, associated with an organization called Candela Obscura, a powerful organization in their own right. But when they cannot reach out or find out certain information, they sometimes look to other organizations, and this time took a somewhat darker look as your guardian, your lamplight, has lent into a darker organization known as the ABC Crew, a criminal syndicate. They supposedly have access to information that is critical to your other investigations, and they have requested a job to be done. You went and met with Mr. Z, an interesting individual, and he gave you a simple task to go to the outskirts of the city. There was an individual there, a socialite, an academic, artist, so-called artist and poet, by the name of Lazarus Saxon. And He has supposedly a painting that the ABC crew require, and your job, simply go to his house, obtain that painting, return it before the next day comes to a close. It is, though, the equivalent of Christmas Eve in the Fairlands Winter Fest, perhaps, and things are closing down. The weather is cold, the snow is coming down, and the journey, whilst not particularly far, is chilled. You gathered your resources and found out a fair amount of information, um, coming up with a number of different ideas and plans of how you potentially can obtain this painting. But when you arrived, your plans changed fairly rapidly. A sign on the gate warning people not to enter, go away, no carolers. The gates themselves locked. The horses skitterish, unfed for days. The house, Christmas Eve, dark, no lights on whatsoever. Gaining entry into the property, you begin your investigations, and again things just do not seem right. First and foremost, in the grand hall, a large Christmas tree, now recently decorated with Lazarus Saxon, entangled, strangled, electrocuted by the electric Christmas lights as he accidentally had fell through the banister. But of course, you brought him down, checked on how he died. There was no saving him. He'd been dead for a good number of days now. You begin to search first the kitchen, and then the lower house first, the cellars, and there you had a number of unfortunate accidents, but you did eventually manage to find the painting locked away in a wood cellar. You tentatively looked at it, somewhat nervous, especially as there is bleed associated with this. The painting was complete, a water scene, but centre of the painting, the figure that would have been in it, not there. A blank canvas, unpainted perhaps, or perhaps something even more mysterious. Making little sense, you carried on your investigations, this time returning to the ground floor. First floor if you are in America, ground floor if you are here. You found some rather esoteric poetry. Some of the paintings were somewhat debauched. It seems he had a certain taste. But then you perhaps struck gold. His study and a number of books rapidly searched through. A screwed up note speaking of muses locked in boxes. Of course, the muse, the box, the voice. Some of you had heard whispers, voices in your head. Help me, I can help you. Where was that coming from? But as you delved deeper, you begin to realize what he was researching was an ancient creature, Shishiga, a woodland creature that at best was mischievous, at worst malevolent, could force ill luck upon individuals and in many ways bring their doom upon them. And as the last episode came to a close, you discovered some weaknesses. Coffee grounds, rather antiquated, a chemistry book open, not coffee but actual caffeine. Albric being the studious type, professor or student of chemistry at least, created a couple of vials. And what is this about smashed mirrors? Well, we are about to find out. And your search of the house has taken a toll on you all in one way or another. Some of your resources running low. The hour is now very late. If you do not get this complete picture back to ABC, not only will you not uncover the information that Candela Obscura desperately needs, but much worse, failure is not an option with the ABC crew. And of course, marks, maybe even scars that you carry, your burden for exploring this house so far. So as the episode opens, it's complete darkness, and then in the middle of the screen is a dot of white light that begins to expand, revealing the scene that we now see, the three of you finding this information out, and you each stare into each other's faces. What do you look like? I know you gave character descriptions, but it's quite nice to do it in scene, get you ready so we can open this scene properly. We'll do it the other way round, just not who you are, but physical descriptions of your characters. Mary, what do you look like? What does your face look like now, having uncovered this information?
Quite tense. She's halfway up the stairs to the first floor, holding one hand to her side because a few of her ribs have been broken. So her sturdy leather gear is a bit scuffed in places. She's holding a club ready. But I think, if I remember correctly, she's also carrying the painting.
Yeah, perfect.
And a vial of caffeine as well.
Yeah. You, Albric, what do you look like, and what are the thoughts going through your head at the moment?
Middling height, quite thin, quite pale, and face very much a perplexed frown and worried frown has kind of settled through the exploration of this, and everything that's happened is now just kind of permanently etched on his face. And he's kind of clutching his sort of small medical bag, hoping that, and the vial in the other hand, and kind of looking at the stairs and knowing that's the way to go, and not entirely sure that that's where he wants to go.
And last but not least, Eva, same sort of questions to you.
Eva has made a career of presenting the right face to the right people at the right times, and that instinct is still there, but she's just had to save her from her leg going all the way through the stairs and then falling down to crack her head open. And this is very unsettling. In previous jobs, she would have retrieved a spooky painting and that would have been the end of it. She's not used to being pushed this far. So even though her face seems composed, her stocking is torn. She's got a sheen of sweat. She's breathing a bit shallowly. So you can really see the conflict between her face and her body.
Right, very nice. And you are beginning to make your way up the stairs. This is correct, isn't it? So it's fairly easy. I mean, it's quite a horrific sight as you move your way up the stairs. You can see where the banister has given way and where Lazarus Saxon fell down. The Christmas lights that would have been around the banister sort of torn off, ripped out. You're not entirely sure this could be an accident. There is a chill to this property as well. I mean, it is cold, it's snowing outside, but there's been no heat on for a good number of days. and it's cold. You begin, as you get up to the stairs, begin to see your breaths fog. The cold, you don't know whether it is just cold or there's just a supernatural chill down your spine. You get to the top of the stairs though, and there is indeed kind of a landing that goes all the way round, almost like a balcony. You can see that straight ahead of you to what would have been the north wall are two doors, kind of equally spread, and then there is a couple of windows to the south of you, but opposite the doors to the north there are also doors into some upper rooms, and of course there are a couple of doors to the east as well. The walls are decorated with this almost pornographic paintings, works of Lazarus Saxon, kind of with strange mythological themes, nymphs, satyrs and the like. Of course it's dark up here as well. One of you I think has a light. Is it a torch, or have you had to resort to some candles?
I don't honestly remember.
That's okay.
Me neither, but I usually settle Matt with carrying torches or lamps or whatever light sources that we have.
So tell me, Albrecht, it's important. It's dark up here. It's night time now. You're not going to complete your investigations without any kind of real light source.
That being the case, I will have a small mundane invention of my own creation, he said, very quickly scribbling that off on his gear list. Which is kind of just a pocket, unfolds, and has a tea light, but with a clever kind of concoction combination of mirrors, turns it into a sort of a miniature handheld lantern, which is kind of small enough to hold in the hand, but gives enough the sort of light that you'd get from a typical lantern.
Perfect.
Very use.
No, I love it, and it's your invention, so it's
Oh,
going to
I
be.
just remembered. It's the one of the coach's lights that I brought and probably gave to Matt's character.
Perfect. No need to
I
use.
fold my little one away.
No.
No. That's a wonderful invention, Albrecht. I think it's brilliant. Would you mind if I held the lantern?
By all means.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I'd like to go look at the images on the north doors and see if anything seems particularly watery or sprightly.
Okay, yeah, so there's nothing on the doors themselves, but on the walls there are these various sort of pictures, sort of numerous ones really, and they're not too baldy really.
Okay.
So looking at the doors, none of them. Oh, wait there. The one to the west and to the south. That door looks strange. Looks different to all of the other doors here.
Okay. I'm going to have a look around this door over here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a massive house. You can easily move to the door and you're in sight of the others.
I don't know if you want to come with me or.
Yeah, Mary definitely with the club in both hands is ready to hammer down anything that might look like it's a danger to us.
You read my mind, Mary.
Keeping out the back, but keeping an eye on the other doors to see if anybody or any sign of movement from any of those as they're investigating as well.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll break this down first and foremost. We'll start off with Eva. You've moved to this door here. Yes, this door is most definitely reinforced, you would say. Not kind of like a vault door, but looks like it is made of sturdier wood. You also notice, unlike all of the other interior doors, there's most definitely an obvious lock on this door here.
Okay. Can I look at the images around it and see if they seem to
There's no
suggest
there's
anything?
no correspondence to the rooms. These are
Okay.
standard sort of oil paintings. Not that anyone would have because they've got certain sort of themes to them. But yeah, they all seem to be. Firstly, they're badly painted, so you can see by the name Lazarus Saxon, they're all done by him. And secondly, yeah, they're all of a similar style. The one thing that connects them all though is that face. The face on the female within this. In fact, even when there are sort of three women dancing around what appears to be some kind of moon well, uh, they've all got the same kind of face.
Do we see
Yeah,
any
we used.
signs of coffee grounds or shattered mirrors?
Not up here.
Okay.
I think we did establish in a previous session that his housekeeper is the person whose face we're seeing, but that
Yes.
it's probably his muse, so the
Yes.
thing from the painting.
And as you look at those, and as Mary again points out to you that this must be the housekeeper's face. Ooh, none of you are weirds, are you?
No, our weird is currently lying in the carriage outside.
Yeah, she's had a touch of the vapors. What I would prefer you to all do then is just roll your gilded dice, and I'm looking to find out who has got the highest of the rolls.
You mean just the two that everyone has?
Just the one gilded dice. Just roll a gilded dice.
86.
2 for you, a 6 for you. Just waiting on Mary.
Yeah, the app is a bit slow today.
Yeah, that's okay. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
So it is Eva, and as it's Mary mentions to you, look, faces of that. You hear in your head, only you hear this. Help me. It's so dark. Help me. I can help you.
I think I'm hearing the voice that Symphony was hearing. A woman's voice saying to help her because it's so dark. And I try to think at her. Are you in a box? Where are you?
You feel that they're trying to communicate, but they're having difficulty communicating with you. You can, if you want, open your mind to her. Really open up your mind.
Oh,
Do it, she says. I can help you. You must let me in.
she wants me to open my mind to her. And then I think to her, how can you help us?
Mary instantly clutches your shoulder and shakes you and says, "Do not let her in. She's a spirit." "What are you on about? You can't let her in."
But if she can help us, how can you help us?
There's no answer. It's almost as if your psyche is stopping the connection. I mean, what you're trying to do is obviously supernatural. And the bounds of the mortal world resist bleed, resist such things. There are some that are somewhat more sensitive to it. But you must put down your defenses.
Can I hold my bleed detector to myself
Yeah, you
now
can
that she's
detect,
spoken to me?
detect to see if there's bleed. And there's bleed all through this house. You know this anyway. And your bleed detector detects bleed, but you don't know whether it's the voice that you've just heard or just everything in this house.
Okay. Well, my thoughts are I unpick the lock, hopefully, on this door, and we see what's in the door, or I unpick the lock in my brain and we see what's in the voice. What do you think?
Let's try to see if the lock is locked before we try and pick it.
The door is locked.
Yeah.
It's a simple try and turn the handle and move the door. It's definitely locked, and it feels sturdy. You know, it's not saying that continued attention to try and smash through the door is.
We've already established that I've got my burglar equipment, so
Yeah.
happy to use that.
I
Albert, what do you
feel.
think?
I think that if it wants to forge a connection with your brain, that is something more risky and more dangerous. If we were able to assist by getting through just opening the door, they might ask for that. But I think that's the way to go. Is that let's see what the physical constraints and binds are first, if there are any. Let's see what's on the other side of this locked door, and then if whatever is there, it will still likely want you to unlock your mind to it, but let's see what it looks like first, or at least what situation it's in physically first, just in case. That would be my take.
I just worry that the housekeeper and the spirit are not the same person, and the time's running out for the housekeeper, but maybe I've just been on too many of these missions. Fine, okay, I'll try to pick the lock.
Okay. So we'll talk people through the mechanics of this game. If you're watching Candela Obscura for the first time, or trying to get your head around the character, we're using pre-gen characters. Which pre-gen character are you using, Jocelyn?
I am using the slink, and my
Okay.
specialty is criminal.
Right. Perfect. And what you are attempting to do is, in effect, pick this lock. So I would say sleight of hand is appropriate. So the way this works is we look at the appropriate skill, and cunning. Within cunning you've got sway, read, and hide, and within hide you've got the subsection sneak, distract, and also sleight of hand as well. So I'm guessing you quite like to use a hide skill.
I would very much, and I have 2 in hide, and one of them is gilded.
Okay, so you have a minimum of 2 dice, and one of those is going to be a gilded dice. Now, the first question that I need to ask is: have you got any cunning left, cunning drive, and do you want to spend any to add to your dice pool?
I have got only 1 left, and seeing as we always have the option of trying to break the thing down, I don't want to spend it on this one.
Okay, and then we move to the rest of the table, because other characters can potentially donate some of their drive to you. It must be cunning, though. You must have some drive in there, but other individuals can only add a maximum of 1. So,
Mine is all used up already.
okay, as I said, we are moving towards the end times. Alric.
We have one left, and I'm tempted to hold that for the minute. in case I need it for sway, because I'm quite good at that.
Okay, so this shows that perhaps you're a little jittery now hearing the voices, and you're kind of running on whatever you've got left. So give us a roll, please. 2 dice, 3 and a 4. The 4 is the gilded dice. That will
I'm
give
gonna
you a drive back.
yes,
Um,
and that's good. So I'll take that one.
so please remind me, I have run far too many games here. Is a 4 and a 5 a partial success, and a 6 is an actual
Yes,
success? Yeah.
and
So
there's no difference between a 4 and a 5.
yeah, that is exactly what I thought it was. So if you're watching, you have just learned that a 4 and a 5 is a partial success. So you managed to get this lock unpicked, but unfortunately your lockpick snap as you have now lost that item. But it hasn't jammed the door. You've got this door open. I'm going to start being harsher. I have heard reports and individuals talking about me that I'm far too nice. Matt Mercer, when he runs Candela, he's off throwing marks and scars left, right, and centre. So, with that being the style of game that you want to play, bring it on. So, the door isn't open, but it's unlocked.
Mary puts her left hand on the doorknob and looks at the other two and whispers, "Are you ready?"
As we'll ever be.
Mary opens the door, but
Okay.
doesn't step in. She stays outside and lets the door open and see what lies beyond.
Okay, a very strange scene. Some kind of prison. You see that there are chains dangling from the ceiling, much of which is actually mirrored. There are strange erotic paintings all round the room. There's a number of strange kind of raised beds or benches which have sort of shackles to them. But it's strange again as they don't appear to be just hard slabs of wood, but padded. It's a large chamber filling from the door to the far end of the house. There are a
I think
number. Go.
I think we might have found Lazarus's favorite room.
You see, there's a number of instruments of torture as well, like whips in here, riding
We've
crops.
we've definitely found Lazarus's favorite room.
Oh boy. Any signs of people or things in here as opposed to
Nothing moves. The light just picks up these chains and these strange shapes, but you don't hear any sort of movement. Certainly the door has obviously been opened as well, and no one cries out to you or anything.
Are there windows?
There are windows, but they have what appears to be shutters that are closed and heavy sort of curtains that come down. The room is well actually furnished as your eyes adjust to the light that is. There is a lot of expense gone to everything in here.
Is there a large box?
Is there a large box? Yes, towards the back there is indeed a large box.
Mary carefully starts making her way towards the box, sidestepping all the chains and other equipment.
we'll
Yeah,
follow part way with light, holding light high.
Okay.
And I'll be holding my lamp, and I'm actually going to go to one of the windows and open the heavy curtain in the hopes of seeing. Oh, it's never mind. It's middle of the night. Never mind.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm gonna follow with my lantern too.
okay, and it's kind of strange, as I said, the ceiling is mirrored, and when you bring your lanterns in, light begins to cascade around this room and shine off. And these chains are, I mean, they are most definitely chains, but of very nice, high quality sort of steel. And much of the bindings are sort of leather, heavy leather sort of straps, again of the highest quality. They look used, but this isn't a place of incarceration in any way, shape, or form. Of course, there is the big box at the back.
When I reach the box, I knock twice.
Okay, bump, bump. Nothing responds.
I back away a little bit towards the other two and whisper, should we try to open it? I think this fits like the description of what we've been told
It's
by the
kind of
voice.
a large sort of Ottoman type device thing. I mean, if you were kind of smaller than perhaps a coffin, but obviously you could fit a body in there if you maybe broke a few bones.
I think we probably have to look, and then if there isn't anything in there, then we need to move on as quickly as possible.
I hold my club ready, you hold the vial of caffeine ready.
And I've got some light. Would you like me to hold the other light?
Okay.
I'll
The room is now quite heavily lit. The reflections of all the light mirrors with the two lanterns that you've got here. The ottoman is probably one of these ottomans that you can sit on as well. There's a lovely red velvet sort of seat cushion that is attached to the top of the box. Doesn't appear to be any lock upon it.
I use my club to lift up the lid.
It's well oiled and the lid easily lifts, revealing a large number of very clean sheets folded nicely.
I start rummaging through the sheets to make sure that there's nothing underneath them. Again with my club.
Okay. Again with your club. As you do, you're very luckily, it seems that amongst these sheets, perhaps something got misplaced. Um, it seems to be some kind of blade of sorts, um, a scalpel maybe, um, and it cuts at your club, but no damage. Had you put your hands in there and rummaged around, you perhaps would have been very unlucky and cut yourself.
I swear this house is trying to kill us.
It is. It absolutely is.
And with that, you hear the scuttering of tiny feet outside. Not outside the door, but certainly upstairs.
This upstairs, or is there a further upstairs?
You think there might be an attic, but you think this is on this level here.
Okay. I'm going to start to run out into the hall.
Okay, run. As you begin
Don't
to
run.
run, yes, there's a number of hanging chains, and well, Can you give me a roll, please? What kind of roll should you give me?
Run, dodge, navigate, move.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah. Are you
Okay.
going to add anything to this?
I've only got one left to spend, but I might. Anybody rolling in them? I'll take that as a no.
I'm
I'll
Okay.
add one.
my for actually needing to club something.
Yeah, you do that. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
So you run. This is normally a easy automatic action, but this place is unlucky, and you run forward. And this is a place with various instruments of causing harm, chains and the like. And yes, you fall unlucky. Tripping, you smash yourself in one of these chains that are falling down, and it hits you hard. You reach out for it, unbeknownst that the chain is connected to another piece of equipment which falls from the ceiling and crashes heavily into you. You take a mark to the body, please. Knocks the very wind out of you. It's basically a counterweight to allow someone to be lifted up with these chains that has just fallen down and bludgeoned you in the head. You are bleeding.
I told you not to run. Be careful. And I help her up.
Oh, thanks.
Let me go first. Damn it.
Here, do you want a light? Somebody take a light.
Let me take it. And he
Okay.
keeps hands free for hitting.
I take point again and move towards the door.
Yeah, follow with the lantern.
So you head back out. No sign of anything. You're at the far western side of the house at the moment. There is a door directly opposite the door that you have come out of. There is the hallway stretching, two other doors, one to the north, one to the south, and one immediately ahead of you. And then, of course, there's the balcony. Around the balcony, there is another door to the east.
Can we hear the footsteps at the moment?
You listen, and it's gone. It's almost as if it wasn't there.
Let's be methodical about this. One of you keep an eye on the hallway, and I will check the doors one by one. And I move to the one that's closest.
Okay. So the door directly opposite is closest to you. This seems to be a standard door, standard interior door. There's no lock upon it.
I open it, but again, do not enter until the light reveals what's inside.
You open it, and it's, well, I wouldn't say a pleasant room, but it's quite obviously a gallery of sorts. You can see that in the centre of the room, sort of facing the northern wall, is a large, comfortable sofa. There are numerous, probably his prized collection of paintings that are hung up on the walls here. You probably know these are his prized collection of paintings because none of them are actually his. But directly opposite the sofa, there is a blank space, a blank area, and it's fairly easy for you to see that a painting was perhaps once hung there and has been rapidly removed.
Move to the wood cellar where we found it.
You think that the space could easily hold a painting of that size?
Is anything moving in the room?
No.
Is there any space for a small creature to hide behind?
there's plenty of spaces for a small creature, especially some kind of supernatural small creature that's a spirit that could be invisible or perhaps climb the walls and lurk in those unseen places that, well, by their very definition are unseen, just waiting for the unsuspecting to go in. Sorry, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
That's okay.
I move into the room very carefully.
Well,
Mary, what are you doing?
Oh, I need to check where the creature is.
But
You
you-
can't
but
just
you-
move away from this door and not knowing if it's there or not.
Yeah, but you said for one of us to stay out here and keep an eye, and it looks like Alberic and I are both out here, and you can't just walk in.
I just need a light.
Do you want to
Alberic,
stay? Do you want to go?
Oh, dealer's choice.
Wait here. And I follow in the room.
okay, Eva, you're all alone outside here now as the other two.
I move in close, like far enough to give light in the room, but I kind of keep as close to the door as I can.
Are you
Yeah,
kind
I'll be the one moving.
standing in the door area? You know, if the door was to swing closed rapidly, would it catch you in the door?
Yes, but I've placed my foot kind of against where it is to try and to
Why
hold it open effectively so it doesn't swing shut.
don't you like your foot? Is that the part that you can least do without?
I have no suspicion. It's more about holding the door open so that we can keep a view on both ways.
Okay,
Should bad things happen, I've made the decision to do it. Who knows what's going to happen?
yeah, that's fine.
Alberic, I understand you're fairly new to this. You've got good instincts. You really do.
Thanks. Improvising a bit.
We all do.
So with your sturdy foot in the door just in case,
Not very sturdy, but yes.
shining the light. Have you got a torch in both hands now?
No, I
that-
have one torch and the vial of caffeine liquid to
Yeah.
hand in case we need it. And then Ava has the other one.
Perfect. Okay.
Speaking of
So
which,
you begin to search this room, and the paintings here, if you know about such things, are probably worth quite a lot. None of them, as I say, are Lazarus Saxons. You search the room, but how thoroughly do you search it? Because of what you are up against, I'm afraid I'm going to need some kind of roll. So, for the audience at home, you are playing a muscle, is that right?
Yeah, a muscle. The explorer type, I think it was, or something similar.
Yep, explorer. And one would perhaps suggest survey, which is search, track, or spot. And this is an intuition. So it seems that you've got 2 dice in this, no gilded dice.
No
and
drive,
no
nothing. Yeah, just a
drive.
2.
So just give us a 2 dice pool roll, please.
Partial success.
Yeah.
Or a success with consequences.
Yeah. So you sort of look around here, and you're fairly confident that there's nothing here, seen or unseen, as best as you can see, really. So the success is you know that this room currently is unoccupied. Good.
I carefully make my way back and join the other 2 and move past them and move to the next nearest door.
what was in the room?
Nothing, just paintings. Very lewd paintings.
More of his?
Sorry, what?
More of his?
No, not of his. These were actually good quality, but still very, very lewd. like naked people and things.
Oh, yes, did.
So, the next door along is the next door in the northern wall. Again, this looks very much standard door.
The same routine again. I open the door but stay outside until the light shines in and I can see what's inside.
And I follow in enough to give light, but not to commit too much.
Okay. So you kind of look at this, and it's an expensively furnished room. It's most definitely what you would consider to be the master bedroom. Obviously, a bed. There is a fireplace in here as well. It's kind of strange as the light catches. You can not spot sort of several valuable objects on the bedside table, kind of untouched. For instance, a diamond tie pin or gold-plated cigar case, that kind of thing, really. Beyond that, it again looks empty.
I carefully check the spots where something small with horns might be hiding.
Okay. Give me another survey roll, please.
No successes.
No. Oh, you can't see anything here. Nothing. I mean, doesn't mean that you have failed, of course. Just means perhaps there is nothing to see.
I leave the room and go back on the hallway, close the door behind me.
How about that one? What was in there?
Nothing, couldn't find anything. It's his bedroom.
Oh. Ugh.
Well, people need to sleep somewhere.
Yeah,
the
but
bedroom isn't here.
this guy's bedroom. Imagine what kind of dreams he has. I wouldn't want to set foot in there. You're very brave.
And we move on to the next door.
So the far eastern door, again, standard door there, easily opened if you're going to do that. And this most definitely is the bathroom, a sort of large, luxurious bathroom. The standout feature in here, though, is the polished glass sort of mirror above the sink has been smashed. Shards of glass have fallen down onto the floor.
Hello? Hello? I can tell from looking through the crack. That's the bathroom, and I see there's a smashed glass. Is there anyone in there?
Can I
I mean,
see anyone?
that's where they'd be hiding.
There is no one obviously in here. Once again, you can give me a survey roll if you want to try and spot something out of the way. A 6. You kind of look around, and the light glinting off the shards of glass give the room an eerie sort of light. No. I mean, you tentatively even creep towards the bath. Something very small could hunker on down and hide in it. Are you going to peek over the edge?
Yeah, but carefully making sure that there's no glass underneath my feet or anywhere near me.
Your care is really looking after you at the moment as you move forward. A stray footstep could easily step upon this glass. You've got boots on. You've made noise, though, unavoidable noise, as your boots crunch upon the glass, grinding it into the tiled floor. Whatever is there is most definitely aware of you now. Whatever is there has seen the light and heard the noise. You peer over the edge, but it is empty.
Is there room behind the bath for something to hide, or is it just built against the wall?
Now you see there are pipe works and all sorts of things behind the bath. Things could, if they could squeeze and really try and hide. But to get proper sight there, you would have to rip out this bath to get to really look at it.
No, I carefully move back to the door and close it behind me.
Remember how Lazarus died through the electrics? Maybe this thing goes through the pipes as well. I mean, remember the kitchen was completely surrounded by coffee grounds, and yet it was empty. Maybe it's in the pipes as well as the electrics.
Do any of you have any... I know none of you are weirds, but I suppose focus could be good, or maybe even sense.
I have a focus, but no sense.
I'm good with focus.
It is also a true statement that I have focus but no sense.
Yeah.
Would you...
I've also got well read as part of my scholars features or
Okay.
aspects.
Ulrich, you're hearing all of this. What Eva is saying is interesting. Can you give me, I suppose, a focus roll? If you're well read is going to help you with that, then that is fine. What does well read? You're highly educated and retain the knowledge better than most while using an intuition, which is that. If you fail the roll, you can earn back any intuition that you used. So it's a hit and a miss, really. If you are successful, you lose the intuition, but if you fail it, you will get it back.
I'm gonna spend it and see what happens. I
Okay.
think because some guidance will be good. So that being the case, I've got a 2 in focus, one of which is a gilded die, and I will add an additional 1 with my drive. So it's 3d6 total.
Oh, double sixes and a
Double
gilded
sixes.
6 as well. Look at this. You are rocking it tonight.
There we go. So I get a drive back with that.
Yep.
Because I got the 6 on the gilded dice. Yes, that was it.
Absolutely. So it's interesting. What Eva is saying is kind of sounds absurd. It would be absurd normally, but you're in this house. You're chasing supposedly a supernatural creature that has left this painting. You are in the middle of the absurd, and you start putting your scientific mind to the absurd. There's always should be some logic, some fact, and you remember what you have read in the study. You remember the title of the painting, The Water Sprite. What if this thing can move through the pipes? What if it could transform into water or a liquid? It would make it very easy to move around. Maybe that is why the kitchen itself was guarded.
You might be right, Ava. If it can move through the water pipes, then we either follow the water pipes or we try and draw it towards us through the water, potentially.
If we can find all of the outputs of the water pipes and sprinkle some coffee grounds or carefully some bits of shattered mirror everywhere else, it'll have to come out. We'd have to be very careful about planning how the pipes must work in this house, but surely it must be possible to force it into only one direction.
I wonder if we fill the bath.
Ooh, simplicity itself.
Maybe.
And we can put coffee grounds in the other pipes so that it can't get out, can't get away.
Possibly. I'm not sure how we do that bit.
Well,
That's
if the
thing.
valves are closed, they can't get out because they're like locked. You need to open them in order for something to come out.
Yeah, I must admit that even though I'm very familiar with a great number of different ways of making your way about the world and the city, plumbing is not one of them. Perhaps just a bit of shattered mirror down the kitchen sink. I'm down the sink here, and perhaps in the lavatory would be enough to trap it in the bath. And then we could use your what did you call it? Caffeine substance?
Yes. Liquid caffeine.
Liquid caffeine. Interesting.
Okay. Okay. Feels like a thing. So gonna move back into the bathroom
Hmm.
and going to attempt to carefully drop some fragments of glass into the toilet basin and down the drain in the sink, and then put the sink plug in and put the bath plug in
Okay.
and run the bath.
Okay. The bath begins
You
to fill up.
you do speak quite directly, Mr. Greenheart.
It seems simplicity is the best way forward in
Indeed.
strange ways.
Indeed.
The bath
Yeah.
fills up and fills up and fills up. How deep is this bath going to go?
As deep as it can go to see if there's any strangeness to if anything changes in the sort of the viscosity of the water or anything that suggests it might be weird
Hmm. You fill the
in
bath up,
both senses.
and no, there is nothing here.
Perhaps it needs to be lured.
And the water must be coming from somewhere.
The Victorian era, isn't it? So would there be a water tank in the attic?
You probably think that there might be a rain collector water tank in the attic. Yes, you are indeed a man of science, knowing how these things kind of work.
Well, maybe that's the next route, is look for a route up into the attic to see if there's anything there.
Although now we've created a wonderful home for it here in the bath.
Yeah, but how is it going to get there if the plug is in and the tap is closed.
This sounds terribly argumentative, and I certainly don't mean it to be, but how did it remove itself from a painting? I think that this might be the least of its worries. I don't know. It seems quite a mystifying thing.
Yeah, it's open space, but pipes are closed off because otherwise the water would still be running.
Yes. Well,
Well,
I would just say that we should all go together, no matter what.
yeah, my with the idea, or my hope with the bath was that we would draw it to us, but
Yes,
I
mine
feel
too.
like heading to the attic and seeing if we can find a water tank, and if that's any clearer,
And in
feels like the next.
fact, a water tank in an attic would be a very dark box to be trapped in. Perhaps this thing that scampers around and kills people has trapped the housekeeper in there and is feeding off of her in some horrible way, or I don't know. I am, and you can see her now starting to get a bit flustered again, in her breathing. I really should stop talking. Let's just go.
Of course, Albrecht, you read the message. It sounded very much like Lazarus Saxon put her in the box, put my muse in the box, as opposed to this water sprite. You get the sense that Eva is panicking, calling up kind of possibilities, yes, but making the situation work, putting people's nerves on edges.
Well, we've been taking a methodical approach. Let's continue that because we haven't found any stairs up to the attic yet. Anyway, let's continue looking through the rooms, and as with more focus that the main aim is to try and find a route upstairs, but let's see what else there is, because we still, if there's a box large enough for a woman to be placed in, then we need to find it. And that could still be on this floor in one of the rooms we haven't looked at yet. So I think let's continue around the route that we've been going, look in the other rooms in the same process, and then if we find nothing else, we move upstairs as soon as we find those stairs.
All right. Okay. And Eva's going to look at a little shard of the mirror that I'm assuming would have still been stuck in the frame.
Yeah.
And catch a look at where she got smashed and is bleeding from, and could sort of splash a little water on it and try and clean herself up a bit. Get a little petticoat action, try and dry it off,
Yeah,
and
you splash some
sort of
water on yourself.
self-soothing. Yeah, cleaning myself up. Okay, yes. Apologies. Yes, yes.
It's a strange day in a strange place where we've all taken some hits, and so let's just keep going and keep being careful and see what we find.
All right.
Okay.
So the next closest room, again, the door is fine, and you open it. It's a guest bedroom. You sort of go in, and you've got a routine now, a pace to what you are doing, and you rapidly look around this. There are no signs of occupancy. There is on this floor only one more room, the furthest. You've kind of gone in almost a sort of semicircle. You move down to this room, and this room, the door opens as well. This room at first could be a guest bedroom, but you rapidly deduce that this would be Virginia McFadden's bedroom. It has a fireplace in the northern wall, a bed, and a wardrobe within it. It looks fairly basic. Doesn't look anywhere near as nice as the master bedroom. Not overly expensively furnished, more functional.
What room is that in there, do you think?
Must be Virginia's. And I will sort of point at the wardrobe and say to Mary, box?
Yeah, vertical, but will count. And I carefully make my way over and get ready to open the wardrobe door. Is it like tied together or in otherwise?
It's a standard wardrobe, not particularly big. It would be a single wardrobe. You could certainly fit a body in there, of course.
Checking for bodies.
You open the wardrobe door and a couple of moths flitter out at you with the light. I don't know if any of you particularly like moths, but the clothes in here are very dowdy. Again, well made, but not what would be considered fashionable. And beyond that, though, there are some sort of flat shoes in here. Everything that a housekeeper would probably appropriately wear.
I carefully move some of the hanging clothes aside with my club.
Move them aside. It's the back of the wardrobe. The wardrobe's on the wall that quite obviously goes into the guest bedroom to the north of it. But can you all give me, anybody that's in that room anyway, give me focus rolls, please. If you want to spend drives, let me know.
1.
A 1, yes. I think, Elbrick, you're kind of in the room.
Yeah.
Oh, another 6.
6,
On the
and I'll
gilded
take
die.
another drive as well.
Very
Wow.
good. So, there's something strange about this room. You can't really put your finger upon it. Then you realise the shape of the house. The fireplace isn't on a outer wall, it's on a inner wall. There was no fireplace downstairs, and you can't remember a chimney above. This fireplace is not a fireplace, it's false. And you rapidly focus the area, and you realize it's kind of a false wall.
Is that the same wall that the wardrobe is against?
No.
Okay.
I would point this out and would suggest Ava joins us in the room, and then would start looking around and kind of like properly investigating, looking for telltale bricks that press in and levers and like candelabra that clunk down to open things. Some method of opening or moving aside this what appears to be a false fireplace.
Mary will help in that, but using the end of her club to do it.
And I'll hold out the bleed detector to see if anything is bleeding shriekingly loudly.
It's bleeding freaking loudly, and as soon as you step across the threshold into this room, you hear, yes, you are close now. So dark. Hurry, hurry.
Am I the only one who hears that still, or
Yes,
does everyone?
just
Okay.
you, Eva.
She's in there, I think. Does that make sense? It's a fireplace.
don't think it is. I think it looks like one.
Oh, then
Tap, 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 jab, 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 jab.
she's in there. Do we want to let her out? I mean, if it's Virginia, she couldn't still be alive, bricked up in a fireplace for a week.
I don't think.
I take the painting out and unroll it and put it. Is the bed like in front of the fireplace so you can rest the painting against the bed facing the
Yeah,
fireplace?
you can do that. Yeah. So, Albrecht, you've rolled a 6, so not only discover it, you will be able to. You find the means of causing this fireplace to move. The question is, do you want to press it? Do you want to see what is beyond?
I don't think we have a choice at this point. We've gone everywhere else. So I will kind of find it, locate it, and then turn to my companions and say, I think I know how to open it.
I think you should
It's
both
open
have
if you
your.
want to leave.
I get ready standing on one side and make sure that I'm not between the painting and the fireplace, but at the side of it, and make sure that I have a free swing in case anyone jumps out and doesn't go into the painting, basically.
And you have your vial of that liquid caffeine, yes, Mary? Because
Yeah, but
I had.
I'm holding the club, basically.
You want me to hold the caffeine? So I can get
Yeah.
ready to splash as well.
Yeah, sure.
Well,
Yes, Elbrick?
no, sounds fine. All I was going to say was we should probably, if we keep one, and we'll use one this time, and then we've got
Yes.
another one just in case. So
Yes, I will definitely keep this in reserve. And I'm going to have my hand in my bag as well. So I've sort of got my bag over this arm and this arm with the caffeine vial and this hand in the bag ready to pull something out.
Perfect.
I have my vial ready in case. And so that being the case, I will push the button or pull the lever.
Okay.
Or
You do that, and the whole thing just moves slightly, and it kind of reveals a low sort of entrance into a hidden chamber beyond. As you sort of kneel down to sort of look to see what is in. The chamber itself is fairly large. Perhaps this was once a monk's hole or something of that ken. But you see curled up pitiful remains of what must be Virginia McFadden. What is worse is her fingers, the tips of them shredded almost to the bone.
From trying to get out.
That is all you can see. Of course, Eva, what you can hear is, it's still dark. I can hear you, all of you.
You said remains, right?
Yes. Only you, Eva, can hear this. Please, get me out.
She's still talking. She still wants us to get her out, and she can't see us.
sorry,
Mary?
Jim, did you say?
I'm sorry, Matt.
No. So, Jim, did you say there was anything else in sight in this room, or just the body?
You're going to have to crawl into this hole and properly explore it if you want to have a
No,
good
it was
look.
like from where we are.
Yeah,
That's
all
so
you
we
can
would need
see.
to
Yeah.
delve through. Okay.
I'm the
Mary,
kind of GM that's going to tell you what you can see and what you can't see.
No, just check.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Mary, would you do me a favor? Would you just gently, kindly nudge the late Virginia ever so slightly?
With my club. Yeah, sure.
With your club, yes.
So I reach into the room. Is the body actually within reach of
the club,
without me
yeah.
crawling in?
So it's not a massive space. So with the club that you've got, you're probably going to have to put your arm where the fireplace is, across the threshold, of course. Even with
Yeah,
the club.
that's okay.
Okay.
So
but
I'm going.
I touched the body with the end of the club, the business end of the club.
Then I'm going to think to Virginia. Okay, I understand that you can't see us. Did you feel that?
Feel what?
Oh, where do you think you are right now?
He put me here. I go here when he has guests.
You go here regularly.
Yes. But
Why?
he doesn't like me. Doesn't like other people seeing me. He says I am his. But when he put me here, he wasn't having guests. He was worried. He said it's for my own protection that he needs to do something. He'll be back soon. It's been such a long time. I can barely remember when.
He has been a long time, Virginia. I'm so sorry.
I sense something else here as well. I hear it. It moves.
We've
About.
seen it. What do you hear? Do you hear anything in particular?
It's like the feet of a child.
Yes, like the feet of a child. Albert, Mary. That's how she describes the sound.
In the room with in there where she is?
No, she hears it running around the house.
No, that's not what Andy said.
It is.
Oh, sorry, what, huh?
No, you're right, Eva.
Okay.
I hear it, not in the room, but around the house.
Yes.
If you get me out, I can. I think I could find it, but I need to get out of here.
Just one moment. Albert, Mary, I don't know that she understands that she has left this mortal realm. And she still wants to go into my mind, and she thinks that if she does, she'll be able to find the water sprite.
How do we know that it's actually her ghost talking to you and not the sprite?
Maybe if you find some of her dresses or underthings or something in her wardrobe, she could describe them and the water sprite might not know. Or if there are any letters in her bedside table or something. If anyone wants to have a look, we can do a little quiz.
Try. I will hunt through this room and try and find some personal effects of Virginia that would be the sort of thing that she would know, and somebody would have to research and probably find, this letter to her mother or whatever to have that info.
That's very kind of you, Albert, because I assume that if she's speaking to me, she could also know whatever I know. So it's only safe for someone who isn't me to do this. You understand?
So I'm going to need a couple of things here. First and foremost, it's not going to be particularly difficult for you to search this room. But if something is well hidden, it's well hidden. So there's nothing apparent with just a simple search. So I am going to need sort of a focus or a survey. Inspect, search, or even sense. Any of those intuition ones would be useful to see
So
if you can pick something up. Sorry.
I would prefer focus,
Yeah.
because I have a gilded dice in it, but survey is also the same, so I'm happy with whichever you prefer.
Yeah, focus is good.
Okay, and I've got, because I've earned some drives in it, I will use and drive. So I've got 2. Oh, so I'll give myself, so it'll be 3 dice, one of which is gilded. To see if I can find specific
Oh,
stuff.
look at you! How
Again?
many 6s are you rolling tonight? You
Like the,
are
You
I
are
am
the
the
awesome.
devil.
Alberic is the antithesis of Dragas
Yep,
from Times
uh,
Undreamed of. I love it.
yep, absolutely. So underneath the bed, fairly standard place to hide something, but obviously, you basically see loose floorboard. Um, it's well disguised, it's well hidden, unless you were specifically looking and searching as well as you are. You perhaps would not have noticed this. You easily move it. It's not even nailed down. It's almost designed that it can be lifted out if you want to. And in there is a small journal or diary. You find it. It's the diary and journal of Virginia McFadden.
Would
So, sorry.
scan through quickly, trying to find
Yeah.
specific. Yeah.
Okay. I'll come back to that in a minute because I want
Hmm?
Eva to make me a roll as well. I would like you to give me a read roll. This is interpret body language, spot lies, and gather motives. This is a
Yes.
relatively important one.
Ooh, and I've got leverage.
You've got
So we'll see
leverage.
if I succeed.
Okay, before you do, can you please tell me and everybody else what leverage gives you?
Leverage. This is one of the things that you can choose in the criminal specialty.
Yep,
On a successful read roll, so we don't know if it'll happen,
yep.
I may ask the GM what my target truly wants.
Hmm.
And
Perfect.
if I make any sway rolls using the information, I can also add my current cunning resistance.
So that is very nice, but it's good. Um, it looks like you've only got one dice in read though.
Yes,
It is a gilded dice, but do you have any drives? Are you going to spend any drives?
I will indeed. I will. Can I spend 2? I think
You
I can.
you personally can spend as many drives as you've got. Only other uh, of your associates can give you one dice.
Okay, just checking. So I'm going to clear out my old drives here. Come on. Roll.
It's okay.
Partial success.
Well, it's a success, but with repercussions. So a few things happen kind of more or less simultaneously. The diary, first and foremost, it's depressing reading. It's quite dark. It seems that poor Virginia had uh, a terrible early childhood, most of which she doesn't remember for a very young age, just beyond being an infant. Her mother supposedly died at the hands of her father. Her father was found guilty and later executed for that. Without anyone to look after her, she went to an orphanage. She spent most of her childhood and teen years in that orphanage until she was about to be released at the time of the age 16 when entered Lazarus Saxon, who made an offer of employment. He was looking for someone to ensure his house was well kept. They She became employed by him, and he became infatuated with her, not her as a person, her image. The journal says how he said she inspires him, um, and she often sat for paintings to be painted, etc. but the diary says how he had only eyes for her image and not who she truly was. Shoulder no true love, merely just as a model and a housekeeper. And she goes on to sort of say, even when he has guests across, I hear them, but he insists I go in the box until they leave. He does not want me fraternizing with them. There is no real journal entry for her final days because it seems that it happened all too fast, but a few of the earlier entries in it leading up to her final days seem to indicate that Lazarus seems to be becoming obsessed with something, some kind of painting that he has obtained, and he believes it to be a mistake. He believes that it has brought a curse down upon the house. He is becoming obsessed, and then it ends. So, Eva, with your true motives, it's kind of strange. You think this is actually the spirit of Virginia McFadden, but you think she perhaps thinks the worst, realizes she has perhaps, one can't say passed, but died, and some of the words that she said to you, find me, I can help you, and all of this seems to indicate there is more. It's not so much you can't trust her, but there is more to her agenda than you can truly sort of glimpse from the brief conversations that you have had. But you genuinely think that she's telling you the truth, that she has heard things around the house, and that she perhaps wants to help, but there might be a cost, something to be paid.
Albrecht, Mary, I think we should talk about the next step, which might end up being mine. This is Virginia. I'm nearly certain, and not this water sprite trying to put on an act. And I believe that Virginia truly believes she can help us, and we have no reason to think she can't. And we don't have a lot to go on besides a bathtub full of water and nothing else right now. So one possibility is I do open my mind to her, but even though she knows that she's not going to be her living self again, she's not given up. She still wants something, and it stands to reason that something might be another body to live in, which might be mine. If she overtakes me, might be one of yours, if you're not strong enough, which I'm sure you are, but I just need you to know that seems to be, from my best guess, the situation we find ourselves in.
Right.
As soon as I notice that you're not behaving yourself and that she's not cooperating or not leaving you when we think we're done, I will hit you over the head.
All right.
I will try not to bash your skull in, but definitely want you unconscious at that moment.
Well, It's reasons like this we joined Candela Obscura. And I know you have my back, Mary. And, well, the back of my head, at least. Albrecht, how do you feel?
Baffled, to be honest, but this is all a bit outside my remit anyway. And certainly things like this, with the voices and the possession and things, is I have no frame of reference. You've both done this before. If Mary says she has your back and will do the knocking out, then I will assist as she needs me to. So whether that's helping with the knocking out or just helping with the carrying afterwards, I, if
Perhaps you
this
could
is
try
the right
your
way,
caffeine potion on me. If
I
things seem to go that way.
No, that was a water
don't think
sprite
that
thingy.
But
that's for the water sprite. Well,
in case Virginia is in here and is too weak and the water sprite takes over, or in case Virginia draws out the water sprite.
this is true.
Yeah.
We both have them. Yeah. So, if you want to do this, then I trust your judgment, and I'll help in any way I can.
I think we need to get going on this because we also have a deadline, and
We do.
we don't want ABC coming and making all of our lives very short.
No, this is very true.
So where do you think we should make our stand? In her bedroom, or in the bathroom with its shattered mirror and its tub full of water?
Don't think that the tub full of water helps much. Well, if you said Virginia thinks she can help us find it, it feels like the first step is to let her in and then get her help,
All right.
I suppose.
So I'm going to sit down on the bed, because I don't know. I've seen people get possessed once or twice, and it often involves a lot of crashing around. So I'll be on something softish and open my mind and say, all right, Virginia, I know that there's more going on here than you're saying, but I will trust that you will help us take care of this water sprite that has cursed this house, and we will do what we can to bring you to a better place. Is that all right?
Yes. So I'm right then. I am dead.
I'm sorry, yes.
But you will make it right, yes?
We'll do everything we can to make it right.
Then open your mind. So you lower all of your psychic defenses, and it's not a pleasant experience either to watch or not. The possession, however voluntary it is the merging of two psyches, two souls, and it is violent. Not so much wrestling for control, but just the changes as Eva begins to convulse on the bed, very sensible, sitting down, taking no damage to the body. Perhaps the two of you sort of hold her steady. She bites her tongue and her mouth begins to froth. She takes one mark to her bleed, and then her eyes open. But those are not the eyes of Eva. They are the eyes of Virginia McFadden.
Is this Virginia or is this Eva?
Virginia. Eva is still here, but you're talking to Virginia.
How can you help us capture the sprite?
So it seems that you as a group have narrowed it down. Virginia has heard a lot of movement upstairs in the attic, kind of child's footsteps moving around quite often, and occasionally splashes. It seems you are right. The main water supply to the house seems to be the place that it spends most of its time in. And certainly Virginia knows the way up to the attic. No steps, no stairs. There is an attic hatch in the ceiling next to what he calls his playroom in the hallway. If you can get that down, there will be a set of ladders that you can pull down and go up into the attic. So over to you, Virginia, for the moment. You can explain that how you want.
Up in there.
Yeah,
Eva knows that you know. Pull down the hatch. I've done it 1,000 times, but I can't do it in this body. I don't have the right control.
and that's where we go. That's what we do. Okay. Do
In
you
the water.
know anything else about it?
In the water. In the water.
Okay.
And it is a lively, quick beast.
Do you know how we can get it back in the painting and get it to stay there?
You have no idea.
I've never seen that happen. I've only seen it or heard it running free.
I suggest draining the bathtub, putting the plug back in, and then when we get to the only open water supply, put the caffeine in, and I think the only place it can safely go is back in the painting, which is the only other depiction of water.
That was my thinking as well. If you can wait here with Virginia, I will go and empty the bath.
Yep.
And I go back and, yeah, as suggested, I go and empty the bath, pull the plug out, put the plug back in, and kind of trying to block every outlet on this floor.
Perfect. Give us. This is getting to the end game here. I want a focus roll off you again. This is perfect for you, really, as you know about pipework, you know about science, you know about what you're doing here. You want to make sure it's 100% sealed and perfect and no mistakes.
If I get 2, one of which is gilded, I'm going to add another one with my drive. Let's hope. Oh, that was bad.
Well, no, it's not bad. You've sorted it. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Job done.
How do you like your face, Virginia?
It is more finely molded than mine. I don't know what it looks like, but not as square as mine.
Is there a mirror in the room?
There is a mirror, a small mirror
I hold it in front of Virginia/Eva.
Oh, that's strange. Not bad. It's strange. What is her name? Eva?
Eva.
She is small but strong. I like this. I like this very much.
Can you let me talk to Eva, please?
Not yet. The water sprite is not captured yet.
Okay. As soon as the professor comes back to the room, I think Mary and him go up to the attic, and I take the painting with me.
Perfect. So you return from your... Perfect. It's easy enough to find the hatch to the attic with the directions of Virginia. It is up to you, Virginia, whether you wish to follow or not. You've got control of this body. You can stay in your room if you want.
I want to see the sprite that ruined what was already ruined.
Okay, you follow the other two.
And feel my legs and my legs and my arms now. Very different. Shorter.
So, kind of walking awkwardly behind you is, well, could it really be Virginia? Certainly not acting like Eva. You pull the loft hatch down, and there are indeed a set of ladders, as described. There's a musty smell up there. There's an actual smell of damp now.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Club and the one of the lanterns in the other hand. One that the big one from the coach, so I can put it down on the floor and it will still give light.
Yep.
Okay, you start climbing the ladder.
The club goes out first, not my head.
Yeah. You kind of stick your lantern up into here and peer through. There's a terrible smell of damp up here now. Very musty. There are, of course, many items up here, as often there is in an attic. Is that a rocking horse? Is that a mannequin? Dust sheets and the like. It's dark.
Old chest.
Your lantern is casting shadows everywhere, but you manage to make your way up. The other thing you notice as you step into here is there are patches of water here, small patches, the size of a small child's foot. What of you, Ulbrich? Are you following up straight away?
As soon as Mary is off of the ladder and kind of clear and gives an indication that I should follow, I follow.
You follow. There's plenty of room. This attic stretches the full length of the house, but it is a sloped roof as well. So there's a good maybe 30% down either side of the attic where the roofs slope in that is difficult. You have to move close to the center of the attic or be crouched down. Your lights now, as you sort of shine, you try and look past all of the clutter and the junk in here, and you just about see it at the far end of the attic, the water tank. This large box. What have
I help.
you, Eva stroke Virginia? You're at the bottom of the ladder at the moment.
Virginia has started to climb directly below Alberic so that her face is quite close to his ankles and feet, and comes up immediately after him and starts walking immediately to the water tank.
I close the hatch as soon as she's through and then pick up the lantern and follow her.
Okay. Can you all give me survey rolls? Partial success. I'm just waiting on. Oh, wow. Someone got a full success there. Who was that
It's
again?
me.
It's you again.
That was
You
me.
master of the sixes. It's very good.
Is there a roll tonight where you haven't rolled a 6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not an important one. Not an important one at all.
The one where I was checking that we'd sealed everything water-wise and there was no other escape route. That one I didn't get anywhere near a success.
So you begin to move forward, and a couple of steps in, you see that this place has been jury-rigged. You notice that there are bits of cord attached across the bottom to sort of crates and to some of these other objects stored up here. You spot it in good time though and stop. If you hadn't have seen it, it feels that a fair amount of ill luck would have fallen upon you, some heavy crates and the like. You have the time to stop people from tripping them.
Would point everything out, like pull everybody back, point everything out.
Disarm what we can.
Easy enough done. It's not complex. It's just
Mm.
little things that, had you not spotted, would have caused injury or potentially harm. You also notice that a lot of water has been spilt in one particular area, and the floorboards now have kind of softened to such a degree that any weight upon them, your foot would have gone through. At worst, maybe a pulled muscle, but looking on the bad side, a splinter of wood could easily sever an artery, leading to almost instant death. But you have spotted it. It's okay. Everything is okay. You move closer to the water tank.
As soon as everything is disarmed, Virginia will keep on her straight ahead march.
Mary will stop her and say, "Stay behind me. We'll handle
Why?
it from here."
Why?
The
How will you handle it?
Well, you said you didn't have a solution. We have thought of one.
Trust us, Virginia. We're trying to help.
It's strange, those words, trust, I'm trying to help, were the last words Lazarus Saxon said to you as he put you in there. Trust me, I'm trying to help you.
Why should I trust you? You left me to die.
I show her the painting. We have this. And we have the thing that it can't stand, that it's allergic to.
That doesn't help me.
First, we have
Do you
to.
think? Yeah, go ahead.
First, we have to contain this creature, and then we can do what we can for you. We can't help you until this is resolved.
I brought you to the creature.
And now we need to deal with it. And then we can see what can be done. And we'll do what we can. As our friend who gave herself up for you so that you could help us, she helped you. She's helping you now. We need you to let us do what we came here to do.
Can he give me a sway roll?
I'm going to let you have control and narrative as this rather than make it player versus player. So I'm going to allow you as Virginia.
Okay.
Maybe Virginia can tap into the psyche of Eva, perhaps. But it is up to you to decide what you want to do. This is far
Okay.
too important for simple dice rolls to decide.
When that thing comes out, why won't it come for me? What will happen if it comes for me?
That's
why you need to stay behind me. I will hold the painting up to it.
And if it comes for you, what do I do?
Hit it over the head.
With what?
Or shoot it.
I don't have anything. I don't have I don't know how to use a gun. I don't even know what's in this bag. What do I do?
Just stand here, please, and let us try and resolve this.
So you see the soft spots in the wood, yes?
Yeah, don't step on it.
Oh, you either. Okay. And
So as we get
Virginia's going to take a step back, but as she's doing that, she's sort of flexing her feet and her muscles a little bit, feeling this body still.
Perfect. You were saying, Mary?
As we start approaching the water tank, is it one of the closed ones with like a pipe going in from the guttering, or is it actually open? It doesn't have a lid.
There's a lid, but there's a tube that seems to sort of go up through the roof. It seems that this collects rainwater as well. And then there is piping. It's up on what appears to be a wooden platform. The wooden platform's only maybe about 2 feet, if that, high. And you think certainly, Professor, that the wooden platform is there as a way of maintaining the weight of it as well, because obviously a huge tank of water needs to be reinforced somehow, otherwise it's just going to come crashing through the ceiling. And then there's pipe work coming up, which will be feeding to the rest of the house.
Are there any valves or anything that close off, like a main access valve or anything like that on this tank?
There might be. You're familiar with this, is that normally they throw in various chemicals occasionally to purify the water. It's very basic for this time. But a lot of water isn't particularly drunk and boiled in these times anyway. It's used for washing and bathing. So as you look at all the pipes, I would like you to give me either, well, I think an analyze or a survey again. I'm happy with a focus roll.
Focus if I can. And I'll spend a drive just in case. Okay, so that's blues and advance.
Mr. Six, that's double sixes again.
This is ridiculous. This is all of the luck I'm ever going to have
This is
for any
brilliant.
tabletop game.
And they're almost always 661.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's really good. It's
Bonkers. Absolutely bonkers.
So, yeah, you can see it. I mean, no one else would have spotted it. It's in the most awkward of places, as quite often is with these things. You're going to have to crawl underneath this sort of wooden base. It's struts rather than a solid block on which this incredibly heavy water tank is on, and crawl through that crawl space to the pipes right at the back and manually sort of turn it. I mean, it's going to be quite a dirty job, but it should be absolutely fine. What is there to worry about?
That would effectively close the house system off, so it would
Yeah,
contain
it would make
whatever's in the tank in the tank.
Yeah, it would just keep the water from flowing from the tank anywhere else.
Yeah. Okay. So explaining this quietly to Mary, principally, but also sort of Virginia as well. So I think I go, close the valve, and then we pour in the caffeine, and hopefully it will have nowhere to go except out and then into the painting.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I take off my frock coat.
Before he crawls under, I want to see if the struts are in good working condition and not rotted.
Oh, absolutely not. The struts are in terrible condition. You don't even need a roll for that. One wrong move here, one smidgen of bad luck, and this thing is probably going to collapse. You're talking a couple of tons at least of weight, which will probably smash through the ceiling and then the first floor and quite possibly the second floor to the bottom.
Does she
And
get
down into
into
the cellar.
Does she get into puddles that small? I've not seen her. There are puddles on the floor. If she gets in a puddle, then you have no hope.
All we can do is try.
Or dry the puddles.
I grab a few of the dust sheet and put them over the puddles.
Yeah, it soaks it up. It seems it's remnants of footsteps, but again, very good idea. Yeah, the floor, I say, is spongy in places, but there's no puddles anymore.
So, I guess I do a crawl.
Okay. Okay, so crawling. This is going to be good. A move roll, I would perhaps say. I mean, I'm more happy for a strike if you want to do a knockdown or break.
I will give you a drive.
Thank you. Okay.
Or do you want me to do it?
No,
For one, I'm smaller, and for second, I can probably move faster. And
I feel like you're going to be more useful in the manhandling of this thing if we need to do so. GM.
Yeah.
Can I propose an alternative role to you?
Of course, I'm always happy. I mean, I don't know why, because you're obviously going to roll a 6 on whatever skill you use anyway tonight. But please,
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx
please,
it. So it's still within nerve.
yeah,
Because ideally, what I'd like to do is do focus. But within nerve, control is drive, shoot, finesse.
mhm,
And I think because of the delicate nature of this, it feels like finesse would be trying to move along the safest path that I can possibly find,
okay. I mean,
is what I would propose.
that's fine. Absolutely. So
So I've
you've got a
got
dice.
one and I've got a drive to use, so I'm
Yeah.
going to use two. And then if you're still happy to give me a
Yes,
drive,
definitely.
I will do three. And my control is a gilded die as well, so it's going to be a two blues and
Before
a
you
bronze.
roll, though, as you begin to
Mm,
move through, it seems that fortune is not with you. Can you reduce your
excellent.
dice pool by 1, please?
Okie dokie. Oh, yeah. So that's just two.
If it was 3, it'd be 2 now.
Yeah.
If it was 2, if it was none, it would be very terrible. Okay, 2,
Dokie. Right.
including one gilded one, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. 5 gilded dice as well.
But that still counts for the gilded dice.
Yeah,
Still, I get a drive back with that.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, so a success with a complication. This is the end game. These complications are terrible. I've been told by a certain player a number of times I'm too easy on people. This was a critical situation. So you succeed, you lock down this, sealing off the rest of the house to whatever, if there is anything in there. Unfortunately, in the last moments, you hit one of the struts and it gives away. The good news is that the whole thing does not collapse on you. It causes a tilt and collapse instead. So it crushes your leg, take a mark to the body, but it also causes much of the water to flood out into the attic, rushing towards Mary and Eva. And I would like both of you to give me dodge rolls, please, which are move rolls. And again, you are struck, both of you, with ill luck. So reduce your dice pool by 1, please.
And if you only have one, do you do it at disadvantage then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's okay. At least a double 2, you've taken the 2. It's not like you rolled a 6 and a 2 and are forced to take the 2. You've got to look at the bright side of things. Oh, okay. So this water just gushes out. Not something that he was truly anticipating. There is a crashing somewhat, and the water pushes you off your feet. Both of you are knocked over, now splashing around. It's kind of amazing how much water these things can contain. And then you see it, or see something, as something seems to manifest in the water, begins to rise up and forms a small imp-like creature, kind of a toddler child, maybe sort of 3 or 4. It has small horns. It is kind of naked, but pallid, almost translucent. These huge eyes staring as it forms out of the water. and it's going to take advantage of one of you, and it's been listening. It's obviously you, Mary, as it seems to transform again back in water and begins to flow into your nose and mouth, beginning to fill your lungs. How do you want to try and prevent this? I would suggest a dodge, but if you have any supernatural skills or ways of dealing with spirits, I'd accept that as well.
No, I don't, so it's going to be dodge.
Okay. This is literally just closing your mouth and nose, even though it's pouring into your ears, doing everything it can to fill your lungs. Because it's making an attack on you, it can't use its invoke. Oh, look at that. That's the time to roll a 6. And is that a double 6 as well?
Yep. One is the gilded dice and the other normal dice. I actually used the drive for this as well.
Yeah.
So I'm getting it back.
Describe to me how this thing is clinging to your face, partially as this water sprite, almost kissing you, but also then forming into water, foaming, trying to gain entry to drown you. But this is not going to happen today.
Like a wet dog, Mary just violently shakes her head about and just flings it off in the direction of the tank again.
Okay, you kind of rip it off and throw it. And as you do, you see it transform from its kind of almost physical form, and as it strikes the wall, it kind of explodes in a splat of water and then begins to reform again.
Virginia sees this imp, sees it has obsessed and forced her master, whom she's very ambivalent about, to lock her up and leave her for dead. And just has this incredible fury come over her. And I would like to roll a hide for distract.
Yeah.
So I want to go after her and shout, "You, caffeine!" Because Virginia can't remember Alberic's name.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. I mean, he's currently. I'm not going to say you're trapped. I'm just going to say this thing has kind of crushed. So you've basically got a mark to your body. So you've got a crushed leg, but you can still move and do things. You're not out of the fight until you take another 2 to your body. I'm a big softy, really.
And I've still got one of the caffeines, so you can tell me to use mine if you want. It's just that you had told me that you were going to use it first time, so I'm going by that. Okay, so 2, one of which is gilded, and I'm all out of drives unless anyone wants to give me a drive.
So what are you trying to do here? Sorry.
Distract. This is
Distract.
hide.
Okay, yeah. This is good. It is up to you. You currently, as a slink, you have 2 in that plus a gilded. Do you have any drives left in it?
Nope.
Does
Have
anybody?
mine.
Okay, so how do you do this? I mean, mechanically, it doesn't really matter, but is there any kind of cinematic that you do if she looks at you and calls you caffeine?
I I'm going to be very awkward because of this sort of new body, and I'm going to be looking at the joist to make sure that I'm not going to go through the ceiling. So it's basically going to be very cataclysmic and showy in that sort of way. And I'm basically just going to try to body plant on top of this little imp while shouting.
Okay, that sounds good. Ulrich, you're going to give her a hide cunning drive?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, let us see how well this goes then. It's a gilded dice, so you're going to get one back, but it is a success with complications. And the complication is quite simply, it's quite difficult to grapple water. And it seems to find a new victim who it's going to try and drown. So it looks like you might get infected by all of the things of this house instead. So let us take a moment to address this scene. There is water everywhere now. It's also dripping through the floorboards. This area was sodden as well, so the floorboards are becoming even more unstable, especially now that the water tank has tilted and crashed. You can even say that part of it is now embedded in the ceiling, causing the water to flow down there. We have Mary, that I think you probably righted yourself as you rolled that double six, ripping it off you and throwing it forward. So you're standing there soaked head to foot. Eva stroke Virginia, you've leapt upon it. It's beneath you at the moment, but you can feel it sort of turning to this mercurial sort of water flowing up your neck and trying to sort of get into your mouth and your nose to drown you. And Ulrich, blood heavily flowing from your crushed leg, kind of adrenaline now perhaps kicking in, so you don't feel so much the pain. Your blood, though, merging with the water that's everywhere else and kind of partially trapped under this awkward structure. We will call this simultaneous. Everything is happening at the same time. Who would like to try to do something first? I kind of figure Mary, as Mary is the one that is perhaps most freed up at the moment. But feel free to talk amongst it if there is some kind of synergy that you want to do.
I would suggest one of you throw the caffeine into the tank and the other one into the mess of water that's on the floor. And I hold the painting ready, hoping for a plan to work.
I guess I'm probably best placed to do the tank, or would I, from where I'm pinned, would that make more sense, GM, or would it make more sense for me to
Well,
move
for
further
this
away, effectively?
for this ruling, there is a lot of water and not a lot of caffeine. So it's not so much that you're going to miss whichever one you want to do. What I'm going to do is make you make rolls to see how effective you are where you place it. This is for both of you if that's what you intend to do. So I am going to.
I would actually shout at Virginia to use the caffeine on the creature below her.
Mhm.
Just smash it underneath you.
Okay.
And that definitely sounds like something any sane person would do. Yes.
And I will be as close as possible to you safely on the joists, where there's most firmness on the floor still, and just hold the painting in both arms. The club is back in her thing on the back.
Okay, so you're literally holding the painting up. Perfect.
And trying to catch the creature when it tries to get away from the caffeine.
Okay. Interesting. It sounds very, very good. This is simultaneous, all acting at the same time, including this water sprite, this Shishiga.
I think I would, within that, and if that's shouted to Virginia, I'd probably hold mine ready
Mm-hmm,
and wait to see what happens first,
mm-hmm.
so that if it works but doesn't work all the way, that I could also throw at the sprite if it needs an extra push in that direction, if that makes sense,
Perfect.
rather than throw it into the tank in case it's useless.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah, so
makes perfect sense. So Virginia stroke Eva, sounds like you are probably best placed for the narrative to go next. How are you going to do this? What skill are you going to use to apply this vial of caffeine to this creature and the water that is around it?
I am going to, well, I've got the same in any of them, but if it's a small vial, then actually it would probably be too strong to shatter. So it'd probably be easier to unstopper it, I would guess.
We're talking cinematics here. Um,
Okay, I shatter it.
yeah. There's going to be a roll. We're going to see how. It's not that you're going to fail it. It's just how effective it's going to be, as I said. And I think shattering it is much more cinematic. Okay.
Unless it doesn't shatter.
No, it shatters. To say you are successful as you sort of shatter it, and as you do, it saves you, um, but it doesn't really cause any harm to the creature. But this thing does not like this, and the caffeine kind of spills over you and merges with the water, and you basically see this thing kind of flow round to the back of you, sort of transform and sort of look where it's going to go next. It kind of recoils from the painting, recoils from the caffeine that you've spilt, looks trapped, and then it sees you, Ulrich. You're having one hell of a day. It looks like it's coming for you, but of course you have something up your sleeve.
Yeah, I am gonna try as it kind of almost as it sees and makes a decision that I'm the next avenue, throw it at it
Okay,
so that it kind of and force it to return, like to dive into the painting to get out of the way, or is the hope.
perfect. So, what is this skill that you're going to use from this? Um, Let us have a look here. Because again, the thing with Candela is it's not necessarily, you kind of think a throw is a physical skill. It doesn't necessarily have to be.
Shoot, finesse. It's up there.
Yeah.
hmm
I will let you borrow my drive from that one.
Well, I've got one in control, which would be the shoot. Yeah, and it's gilded. So if I can, yeah, and I've got a drive, so I'll use my drive. That gives me two.
Okay.
Um, if you want to give me another one, great. But your call, they're your drives.
Yeah, I've placed the painting so it basically the only option it can see at the moment,
Yeah.
other than you, is the painting. So if it can't go for you, the only way is the painting, and all I have to do is hold it up and then roll it up.
Cool. Okay. So am I taking the extra one?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So am I rolling 3 dice,
Yeah,
GM,
yeah,
or is it
because it
still?
can't use its ability on you because it's taken its turn in
Cool.
escaping from the terrible caffeine.
Your butts, folks.
Okay, so it's a success, but with repercussions.
And I still get the drive back, don't I?
Yeah, if you choose the gilded dice, I mean, you can
Yes.
choose
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
border.
We should all.
So you do it, and it's a success, and it kind of hisses at you, a kind of looks benevolent, but this caffeine begins to sort of flow, and it really does not want to touch that, looking for any kind of form for escape. It can't go down the pipes anymore, sealed off. The water is flowing down now through the attic roof, dripping down, but this water is contaminated now with caffeine. Small amounts of it, very diluted, but still caffeine. A thing that is, well, death to it. So it has no choice as it makes a leap to the only safe place, to you, Mary, to the picture. And you were waiting there ready. it splats against it, and at first it kind of feels like a struggle, as if something of form, of mass is in there as you kind of wrap it like a blanket round a toddler. But your arms keep going until there's nothing there. There's nothing within the painting.
I keep it rolled up. I'm not unrolling it.
Roll it up. And with that, we come out of conflict. With that, I mean, it's difficult to tell. Are you sure you've got it? Has it not just dripped away into something else?
Would Virginia know?
No, no, no.
Okay.
Everything is sopping wet now. It's cold as well. Did I mention? It's probably Christmas Day now. Oh, yes, the journal. It seems that Virginia McFadden was born on Christmas Day. It's her birthday. Perhaps only you know that, Albrecht, and of course Virginia herself, but you've probably lost track of time, being dead and all that.
I will say to the others, let's go and get into the carriage, get out of these clothes and into some blankets, and make our way to the city.
The attic ceiling creaks ominously as more water and the floorboards. The water tank moves.
Okay. You go, I'll follow as quickly as I can. It's not very safe, so you guys get out, take the painting. I'll be there in a moment.
Yeah.
So
I opened the hatch again.
yeah,
It was closed, and moved down the ladder
yeah.
and
Oh,
helped Virginia down.
down here is a mess. The plaster from the ceiling has all crashed off. Water is flooding through. You can hear the sounds from above. Virginia, you come down quite easily. You two are down there. Albrecht, what are you doing?
Well, I am trying to free myself as best I can and move over to the hatch as carefully and cautiously as I can with across this soggy, creaking roof.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds very much like you want to make a roll. I was going to just let you do it, but again, there's a player that keeps saying I'm being far too easy on people.
It makes sense that this is, because it was my last roll was bad things happen, so it makes sense that I've got to try and it's not gonna be easy to get out of this situation, I don't think.
Okay. So
Um,
yeah, you can do finesse again if you want to try and ease you
I
out.
would that would be the argument if you're happy with that.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
so I'll use my drive. So I've got 1 and 1. Oh dear.
Okay. It's not so much that you make things worse, but yeah, you're trapped under here. You just can't get yourself free. The floor gives again and drops a little. This thing tilts again.
Mary has stowed the picture in her carry bag, and since Elric isn't on the ladder, she climbs back up to see what is going on.
Yeah, chaos. The roof is collapsing in. Albrecht appears to be trapped. And
I, as quickly as I can, safely, I move over to him and try and drag him out.
I mean, there's so many things to unpick there quickly and safely in this treacherous environment. What skill are you trying to do to try and not actually fall through this sodded floor and bring the whole thing crashing down?
As you
Dodge
start doing
slash
it, I do
navigate.
start shouting, "This is a terrible idea! Don't it no."
Shut up and just give me one of your drives that you got back.
What are you trying to use it for?
Dodge slash navigate. Dangerous spots, basically.
I
I just burnt my last one.
In nerve, you got so many back. Oh.
No, every time I got one back, it was I'd used the one that I had left and then got it back.
Okay.
I would also
So I'm
point
sorry,
out
I would.
this is fatal conditions here. A failure now in this situation. The house, the roof is collapsing in. There's a massive weight of this. Success is the only thing that is going to save the day.
Risk it.
You peer through, you hear Elbrick say, don't chance it. Is that correct, El? I'm not putting words in you.
I said, don't risk it, is what I said. What I would also do as well is, I don't think I clarified, but I would have pocketed the diary, Virginia's diary. I would throw that to the hatch.
Okay.
So that either Mary catches it and can take it, or it would fall through so that it doesn't suffer whatever fate is about to fall.
What is it what we can do with resistance again?
That is a good question. Resistances, I believe, if you fail a roll, you can use a resistance to re-roll, but only with the drives that you've got, not the drives that have been given to you.
Okay, so if I would roll my own move now, which is 2 dice, and I won't get a success, I can re-roll one of them again by using
No,
one resistance.
You can only use resistance once on any roll, but you can use your resistance to roll both dice if both of the dice were your dice to
So
roll.
if I had a nerve, if I had a nerve and gave you a nerve, so you rolled three dice, but you failed, you could use a resistance, but you'd only be able to roll your 2 dice again. You wouldn't be able to roll the one that I gave you again.
Yeah, but
Is
you
how it
don't have
works.
anyone anyway,
No,
so
We're
it's
explaining the
giving the
rules here.
example.
yeah. So I'm going to roll 2 dice, and if it's not a 6, that's for pulling the professor out from underneath the tank and drag him back to the hatch. If it's not a success, I will do a resistance and scratch off one of those.
You can do
Because
that.
I still have 2.
But you need to get a 6 on either the first roll or your resistance roll, or there's going to be fatal consequences to you, both of you. This is make or break. If that is what Mary would do, so you do.
Re-rolling.
We will see what the fates leave to you. You've got a 6. You have a 6.
And the drive.
And a drive. So this is
That was close.
cinematic. As you move, and as you move in, the floor just collapses. The whole thing just gives away and becomes crashing down. With one hand, though, you grab up onto some of the rafters, the other hand just reaching out and grabbing Ulbrich as he begins to tumble and fall, and you save him from crashing. Beneath you now, ceiling, water tank, various crates, even rocking horses rain down upon the floor below. You, hanging by a single hand, or the other hand holding onto the wrist of Elbrick, have saved both of your lives. It is a simple matter to sort of let go now as you're handling, as Elbrick, you are more or less on the first floor. It's painful now, the adrenaline really not in your system anymore, as as your leg is difficult, but you can stand on your good leg. It's easy enough for you, Mary, to drop down. The damage done to the first floor, though, again is significant. But
I would imagine it would have dropped down to the middle and leave the balcony alone.
You would imagine that, but this is a big house. Where the water tank was is actually across where Virginia's room is, and it would come crashing down there. As I said, the attic covers the entirety of the floor. So your 6 is what saved you. You did the unbelievable. The 2 of you kind of dropped down safely, and without the influence of the Shishiga to give you ill omen, you rapidly get out of this house. The 2 of you, if not 3 of you, Virginia, stagger out into the very cold, snowy morning of Christmas Day. And
Virginia would have run straight into her room to get her journal, but she sees that it's been thrown onto the floor, and she realizes that it's probably been read, but she still snatches it up and runs.
yes, yeah. You can have picked that up. As you stagger out, you see that dawn is about to break. The cold begins to bite at your soaking clothes. Fortunately, you have your carriage awaiting to you.
As I'm hobbling over, and seeing Virginia's reaction to and kind of close guarding of the diary, as we're hobbling, I would just say, and kind of seeing the dawn, I would say, very sorry to have imposed, but also happy birthday.
As soon as those words hit you, Virginia, someone has shown you kindness. First time ever in your life. And you feel at peace. And you go to rest. You can say a final word if you want to Albric, or you can just pass over.
I was turning to see the house, which was essentially my grave,
collapsing at the moment.
and yes, I just say thank you.
Okay.
And my eyes roll back, and they come back as Eva's eyes.
You have kind of memories of everything that has just happened. It's like a bad dream, really. You are sodden freezing now, all 3 of you.
Quickly get in the carriage and get warm.
Have we got the painting?
Yeah, I do. And I put it in the carriage. And outside the carriage, I basically strip off to my undies and grab one of the blankets and go sit on the top of the driving bench. And everyone hurry in. We need to get this thing unloaded. I don't want to carry it for too long. And don't unroll it. Whatever you do, don't look at it. Don't unroll it. Just keep it in my bag.
Don't worry. Albert, come in here. And I sort of scoot you sort of onto the floor, and Symphony is stretched out on the bench still, I imagine. And so I'll kind of find a little space and try to put your leg in the most comfortable position. Wrap it up as best I can. And Eva knows how to do these things.
It's a big carriage. There's 2 benches in there, one at the front and one at the back.
Excellent. So if you need a tourniquet, you got a tourniquet.
Yeah.
So you do your best with Albric's leg. You don't miss your appointment with Mr. Z. You pass across the painting and he's happy. He says,
burn it.
Yeah, burn it.
Burn it now.
Have you left your senses? It is ours to do what we wish to do with. You look like you have had an interesting night, but you have done well. Failure is not an option, and you haven't failed. It is ours now, and you will
Bad
be,
luck be upon you.
well,
That's not a threat, it's a guarantee if you own this painting.
I'm aware of that. Perhaps not upon us, but upon our enemies. Then he smiles, and with that, we fade to black, and we bring the session of the heist that should have been a one-shot into a three-parter. Wow. I hope you firstly enjoyed it, and if you are watching, I hope you enjoyed it as well. I should have done a content warning, but I don't think. I mean, there were a few things in the final session that could have triggered people, so big apologies to that. But in the meantime, I do know the lines and veils of our players, and I don't think I crossed any of those. Certainly hope not, and certainly hope that if I was coming close to anything, you would have told me anyway. So, the end of this. I always like to do this. Any standout moments, favourite bits, not just of this session, but of the whole sort of the whole scenario. I can't really call it a trilogy because it isn't designed to be a trilogy. It's designed to be a
Compared
one-shot.
to other game systems, this one is incredibly difficult to succeed in actions. It may sound like, a 4 and a 5 is a success with consequences and a 6 is a straight up success, but normally throwing 6s is quite rare. You're much likely to have either the 50% of fails, which have dire consequences already. Then you have the 4 and the 5, which have dire consequences. And then it's basically just a 6. And the dice pools are so small. This is quite a difficult game. It's like it felt, especially this session, it felt nearly impossible to get things done.
I agree, but I think that was really good because I think before we were just sort of like, hey, let's do this. Okay. And then it worked. And this time it felt like the stakes were so high. This felt like way, way, way higher stakes, and which made me just, really, really. I've enjoyed playing all of these, but I think I was the most invested in this one and on the edge of my own seat.
I mean, you mentioned about 6s are impossible to roll. Matt.
What was up with that, dude?
I don't know. There's clearly a weird algorithm just today on the dice roller, because that dice roller usually hates me. So I don't know.
It hates Drago, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely
So,
hates Draco.
kind of in response to what you're saying, Natascha, I totally I see where you're coming from, and I haven't got my head fully around the system at the moment because and I really like it, but there are a lot of moving parts to it. There's drives that can be added to your rolls. There are getting drives back, but also the consequences of you have marks and you need to get a certain number of marks before technically you're taken out of the game. If we compare this to a game like Call of Cthulhu, for instance, if you lose 5 sanity in a single roll, you gain sort of temporary madness and bouts of madness. So simply by opening a book, you can really changes and skews the nature of the game. But as I say, I haven't worked out all of these moving parts and nuances at the moment. And it is, I suppose, supposed to be, certainly Candela Obscura, a horror-based game. So there should be this escalation of dread that is becoming, rather than you are individuals that are going to succeed. It should be you are individuals that maybe have to make a sacrifice to achieve your goals to keep the world safe.
Which and the fact that the system doesn't force the GM or like force a dice roll to say exactly what's going to happen. I felt like, especially in this session, because it's going to be the last of the 3, like, okay, my character, who in general is really smooth and suave and on top of things and has been so far, okay, now she's rattled. She's just had her leg go through a staircase and nearly conk her head and die. And this thing, we have no idea how to get it or fix it or what it is, and it really seems completely deadly. And so, okay, she's going to start getting a little rattled. And then you gave me the chance to actually, like, are you going to put yourself in a position? Not only am I allowed to put myself in the position to like be taken over by somebody, but then does it happen? And then how do I handle it happening? And then do I try to get out of it? Like all of those, having all of that, a latitude to escalate things myself. And then all the things that you got to do, Matt, and you got to do, Natascha, like instead of just having it be told, this is how it's going to be, that was really good.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I really like it. I need to play more of it to truly understand, as I say, the nuances. And we've only got the quick start rules at the moment, so when there's a full set of rules with character generation and perhaps more abilities and roles, it's going to be very interesting to see.
I would be interested in playing a mini campaign with like the very strict rules that you've been hinting at in this last session, like making it have like really bad consequences, like actually losing players and stuff.
Yeah, I mean the way that I visualize it, and in full transparency, I deliberately haven't watched the Critical Role sessions because I didn't want to get skewed with doing it how they wanted to do it. I kind of wanted to try and understand the system myself, because if you follow the way that the style that they're using, you are following that style, and it's interesting to see how I interpret it compared to them. Um, and it was obviously Jocelyn that was making the comment. So I've watched the Critical Role ones, and Andy is so much kinder, and that's
Just
absolutely fine.
Just to be clear, somebody else on our group on Discord said that he had seen all the Critical Role ones, but
Yeah,
hadn't seen any of ours yet. And so I was just warning him, like, if you're used to Critical Role, Andy is a lot gentler on us than Matt is on his players. That's all I said.
no,
I didn't express a preference. I just said.
no. Now that I've run it, I will go and watch them because I'm very keen to watch them. But the way I kind of interpreted the system is there's a slow escalation, and I kind of like to, differentiate between sort of, this isn't particularly important, but I'd like you to make a roll. If you don't succeed, doesn't really matter. To, this is a serious roll. If you don't succeed here, there could be quite a nasty consequence. To the final roll that you sort of made with, well, this is a lethal consequence if you don't succeed here. And that gave you a choice. It wasn't saying, Mary, you need to roll the dice, otherwise you're going to die. It was, Mary, if you want to try and save Elbrick, you're going to have to roll the dice and succeed, otherwise you both die. And that's a character decision of sacrifice or self-sacrifice, and that's, I think, quite intriguing. And you made the decision, and you succeeded, and it was absolutely outstanding to actually see that 6 rolling up, because I'm not here to beat you down. I'm actually on your side. I want you to tell a story and survive. Sorry, I think
But even if you had failed, it would have been really exciting.
yeah. It looks like you wanted to respond, Natascha.
Yeah, it's about having like negative consequences. For me, it was especially when we like checked the bedrooms and stuff. It felt really difficult to imagine what could have, like, if you roll a 4 and a 5 when you're checking a bedroom, what could be so dangerous as to give you injury in a bedroom?
Yeah, I was asking for rolls to create suspense. There was nothing in those rooms. Um, if there was something in the rooms and you rolled a 4 and 5, then that hidden thing that is in the room would have caused you injury. I didn't cause you any harm when you were failing or not seeing anything in the
No,
room.
no, exactly.
But if I said, right, you look in the room and you don't see anything, you don't need to make a roll, then it kind of telegraphs to the players that, well, that room is most definitely safe then, because I would have had the opportunity to perhaps notice something, and I've not been given that opportunity.
I think that that is a thing that needs to be like maybe clarified in the rules, that things only have bad consequences if there is actually something of danger in the room. So even if you roll the dice and then nothing happens, that means that okay, there wasn't something significant in that room apparently.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I suppose that's how I was running it anyway. And as I say, I like to scale the consequences. It's like if you are, attempting to differentiate between a different flavor between two things, and you have to kind of roll to see whether you can spot there's a difference. There's not going to be a major consequence. I'm not going to, if you roll a 1 and 2, I'm not going to go, aha, your character is actually allergic to what's in this, you die. Um, so it's kind of judging the difference between tests that there might be a consequence. It might taste horrible. That is the consequence with that. Nothing more. And scaling it up.
Yeah, or just the if you fail, just not finding the information that you need at that point in the story,
Hmm.
but not
Absolutely.
necessarily, having something bad luck, things happening to you that affect the storyline
Well, you see,
very
the
negatively.
the bad luck very negatively was specific to this because
Yeah.
that was the influence of the creature, not the rule set. So that is why bad luck things was happening to you, is actively watching and causing those very bad things to happen to you when it was in the consequential. So you might be misinterpreting the rule set with the actual scenario. So
Yeah, probably.
so the damage that you were taking, where it's just like, well, that's just bad luck and you are going to take a mark to your body, isn't the actual rule set. It was the fact you was against something that could manipulate probability to give you ill luck, to give you the worst possible consequence of something happening.
Note to self: do not play this game for first-time players of Candela Obscura.
Pat, I didn't feel I needed to explain why you were taking critical things because you were trying to work it out. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but it only became clear sometime in the second half of the second session.
yeah, but that's what investigators are for, to find out what is going on.
By that time, we'd already lost one of.
Yeah, you hadn't lost any players. She unfortunately couldn't make the session.
Oh yeah, that's why. Okay.
Um, Excellent. So, any other comments before we draw down the curtain upon this for now? We'll just quickly go around again and see if anybody. Start off with Matt because you think you look poised, thoughtful.
I always look poisoned. No, I thought it was no really interesting, and ruthlessness, or not the ruthlessness, but like the definite serious cause and effect and serious consequences for failures was really interesting. And I feel like, yeah, that the situation that Alberic was in by the end, it feels like that's a permanent. It may not be necessarily, as far as the rules are concerned, like a permanent wound, but it feels like that was even surviving. I think if I'd been GMing it, it would, like, even by being saved, I would have taken at least one body in the nature of that
Yeah.
situation. I think, but I think that's really nice, because I think that's part of the whole mechanic of the marks, is that leaving those physical marks and the mental marks, how they affect you as a player going forward. And I think, yeah, it was really interesting to kind of see that start to become part of our game. Was quite nice.
Yeah,
Rolling
because
like a mentalist was crazy.
when you survive, your scars become sort of that you change your character. So
Mm.
you might gain something in one thing but lose something in another, and
Yeah.
you change your character throughout the campaign when you bear these marks and scars, which again is something that we've not really explored yet, but in a longer campaign, or perhaps if you run it as brutally as good old Matt Mercer, you can do it in a single session. Anything else to add, Natascha, and then we'll come finally to you, Jocelyn?
No.
No, perfect. Jocelyn.
Just that, yeah, I mean, I can picture playing the next time with Alberic, and Alberic has, you know, a big old limp,
Yeah.
and an actual physical scar, and a mechanical scar in terms of the game, that would have changed your character to be, I don't know, this was your first one and you seemed quite timid, but now you've I mean, like I said, I'm not saying you should do this, but this is just what's springing to my mind. Like, oh wow, we went up against this horrible thing, and I was able to rely on my fellow party member who saved my life and dragged me out of this rubble, and I've lived to tell the tale, and I am a strong person now. And so, you know, shifting to a mechanic that would serve that. And then I could picture, you know, if I'm like a split personality now, then I would definitely be getting some weird influence going on there.
It's
And
nice how
it
in
would make it
character
so interesting.
impacts upon character sort of progression, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that said, then thank you very much. We have done it. We have completed the one shot in 3 parts. Well done, everybody, and you all survived, and you were successful. So
But it
that's,
only took us 3 months.
yeah, that is no mean feat. Thank you very, very much. The next time you will see the 3 of us together, we will be doing a different system. I will tell you all about that next time. But for now, goodbye and thank you for watching. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Take it
Thanks.
easy, guys.